Now here you see this biological classification as we were dealing with, we'll be beginning with the kingdom Monera. Now basically the kingdom Monera, if you focus on, has been divided into few categories. One is the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic. Okay, so basically if we see that monerans has been divided into archaebacteria, eubacteria, cyanobacteria and mycoplasma. Okay, now if we deal with archaebacteria, now this is supposed to be a very primitive, and they are all primitive. You know, prokaryotic. What is prokaryotic? Prokaryotic means without any nuclear membrane. Okay, cells are very primitive, no organelles are present, no membrane bound structures like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, etc. are absent. Now see, these archaebacteria, if we visualize the habitat, they can survive on all possible conditions, especially extreme positions. That means they can be found in hot water springs, they can be found in the snow filled mountain caps, even they can be found as parasites, as endoparasite as well as ectoparasite. Okay, now if you see archaebacteria, they survive on extreme condition, and then comes the eubacteria. Now what is eubacteria? Eubacteria is basically the modern bacteria. Cyanobacteria are the blue-green algae or photoautotrophs, and the mycoplasma is supposed to be the smallest bacteria and the smallest cell without the cell wall. So this is very important. Okay, now whatever characteristics of bacteria we would be dealing, it would be related to eubacteria only, and when it comes to archaebacteria, we would be saying that these characters are absent in archaebacteria. And basically this eubacteria consists of the biggest family possible. Okay, the members or individuals of this eubacteria are numerous. Now how do we categorize these bacteria? See, on the basis of shape, we can classify them as circular, oval, rod, coma, spiral. Now you see, if you can focus here, you see the bacteria that can be grouped under the four categories. If you see here, the four categories on the basis, see, bacteria are grouped under four categories on the basis of their shape. Okay, now what is it? See, it is the coccus, that is the round shaped bacteria. You have the rod shaped bacteria like this, they are rod shaped. Now you have the bacilli, that is the rod shaped bacteria, rod shape. Then vibram, that is the comma shape, and spiralium as the spiral shape. You see here, coccus round shape, oval or rod shape, that is known as bacillus, comma shape, that is a vibro, spiral shape, spiralium, and thread shape, it is known as myceli. Okay, now see, like that, if number is there, if 1 it is coccus, double it is diplococcus, if it is in a chain form, that is known as streptococcus, and another is staphylococcus. Now this streptococcus, basically, you know, they are all responsible for some kind of a disease. See, streptococcus specifically, it is responsible for sore throat. Okay, so this is a very important thing, and nowadays as the corona is going on, so see, this is also one of the bacteria. When you get a sore throat, and you know, the strepsil is the medicine that kills the streptococcus bacteria. Okay, so next time when you see it, these are, I am telling you for your extra this thing, because this is not in your NCERT book. Now you see this. What is flagellum? Flagellum is basically a locomotory organelle. Okay, now some of the bacteria derives its name from this. For example, trochus, if the flagellum is present, and a trochus without the flagellum. Now you see, if one flagellum is there, it is known as monotrochus. If two flagellums are present, that is known as amphitrochus. If clusters on one side, this is known as cephalotrochus. If on both sides, that is known as lophotrochus. If surrounding, that is known as peritrochus. trochus. Now, if you see the flagellum, if you see, it has been divided into three parts. One is the basal body, hook and flagellum. Now, if you see, this is a cell structure attached to it. You find these two ring-like structure and a rod-like structure in the middle. So, this forms the basal body. Then here you find the hook and here finds the flagellum. Now, basically, flagellum is like, you see it's a beaded string-like structure. The TS looks like that, and it is made up of flagellin protein. Okay, now see again, you focus on the screen. See, in your book it is only how the shape is there, but okay, now you see this structures is very simple. They are very complex. See, structure of the bacteria, they are very complex in behavior compared to many other organelles. Bacteria as a group, you see, as a group show the most extensive metabolic diversity. See, they don't have the organ system, not even the organelles also. Some of the bacteria are autotrophs. They synthesize their own food and inorganic substrates. The many of the photosynthetic autotrophs are chemosynthetic autotroph. Chemosynthetic means these are basically heterotrophs. For example, archaebacteria, if you see, they live in the hot spring. They live in the hot springs, and what does these archaebacteria do? They can survive on, you see, you focus here, the archaebacteria are special since they live in the most harsh habitat, extreme salty areas, that is halophils, salt water, hot springs, thermoacidophils, and marshy area, methanogens. Archaebacteria differ from other bacteria and they survive in extreme condition. Methanogens are present in the gut of severe ruminant animal such as cow, buffalo, and they are also responsible for production of methane biogas from the dung of these animal. Even biogas formation is also done because of this help of this bacteria. Now you see, eubacteria, if you classify this eubacteria, the modern bacteria, they are characterized by the presence of motile flagellum, what I had said earlier. Now the cyanobacteria, it is blue-green algae and it has got chlorophyll A similar to the green plants and a photosynthetic autotroph. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, that means they can live singly, colonial, they can live in a cluster, or filamentous, marine or terrestrial algae. That means marine or terrestrial means, marine means seawater and terrestrial means land. The colonies are generally surrounded by gelatinous sheath. Why gelatinous sheath? It is a very sticky gelatin like that, helps the organism, prevents the organism from dehydration. Okay, now they also form blooms in polluted water body, and some of the organisms are fixed atmospheric nitrogen and specialized organ called heterocyst. For example, Nostoc and Anabaena. Chemosynthetic autotroph bacteria oxidizes various inorganic substances such as nitrates. You see, they can oxidize the nitrates, nitrite and ammonia, and use the release energy to form ATP. See, they use the nitrates, not the carbon dioxide. They play a great role in recycling nutrient like nitrogen, phosphorus and iron in the iron and sulfur. So they help in fixing atmospheric nitrogen also. So heterotrophic bacteria are the most abundant in nature. If you see the heterotrophic, most abundant in nature, the majority of them are decomposers, because without them the world would have been, without the decomposer, the world would have been dumped by garbages. So they are helpful and they are also very useful bacteria. See, bacteria are good and bad, harmful bacteria and useful bacteria. So heterotrophic bacteria, for example, fermentation, curd from milk, production of antibiotics and fixing nitrogen in legume. What is legume? The podded plants, for example, pulses, their root legumes, Nostoc and Anabaena. Rhizobium, have you heard of it? Okay, so in the next part we will be dealing with mycoplasma in detail and the rest kingdom Protista. Okay, so till then you have to go through the